Hey everyone, welcome back. It's the Northern Guy here. Just thought I would do a review on the Raven X Assault Backpack. It is a 30-liter day bag that was primarily designed around a certain style of backpack that the military does indeed use. This isn't surplus, this is actually made by a third party. Looks very similar to something that you would buy from surplus, although I did buy it brand new. So the bag retailed for about $115, I believe, and I've had it for about a year now. I've held off doing a review on this because I wanted to do a few good trips, storage-wise, and see how the bag performed, if it held up, and kind of get an idea of what I liked and didn't like, and bring it to the internet and kind of give insight to somebody else that might be looking to purchase a bag like this. Now, I have a few different add-ons that some people may or may not use. I'm involved with our local search and rescue here in town, and also with the Canadian Rangers, so we purchase pretty much all of our equipment on our own that we get issued very little. So pretty much everything you see is what I would use on a search and rescue mission, that type of thing. So what I want to do is basically go through compartment by compartment, show you how much space there is in the bag, show you what I like and don't like about the bag, and you can kind of gauge your opinions from there. So starting off, I've added a couple of different MOLLE pouches on either side, give me a little bit more space. Same with this radio pouch here. So we'll actually take some of these things out. This is just a Baofeng radio with a long antenna here that I've added for extended range communications. This is a UV9R Plus. You can pick these up really cheap on Wish. Most of the search and rescue guys use something like this because when you're buying your own equipment, things like Motorola radios are pretty expensive, especially when you start adding things like gear on top of everything else, right? So I have a separate radio pouch for this guy here, and it just fits nicely on this side. Moving down to this MOLLE pouch here. This was actually also just a cheap MOLLE pouch. It's nothing special compared to the other side. This also came from Wish as well, and very cheap zipper on it and everything. I kind of don't like this pouch. I'm probably going to end up taking it off, but I got a pair of mechanics gloves in there, and just a small pair of Tasco field spotters just for locating maybe somebody on the side of a hill, just right quick. Nice and light, not very powerful, but they save on the weight, especially when you're carrying a day bag such as this. So that's for that pouch there. Moving to the front, and again, this bag is fairly loaded. I would say it's not something that I would take on large scale trips. It's a 30-liter pack, so it's basically designed for a day bag. Now on the front here, you can see you have your top compartment here, your top small pouch, which I have a number of different things in here, and you're also another pouch below that that's slightly larger. And as you can see, both of them expand out fairly well. Again, this bag is fairly loaded. So, and behind both of these pouches, you have your secondary main pouch. It's not as large as your main, but it does hold a lot of gear. So I will get into that in a second. And of course you have your main pouch, which is where your back sits up against this. So anything you have in here that might press up against your back, you're going to feel that because you do not have, there's no aluminum frame, there's no plastic skeleton in this bag that braces against your back. So you really got to watch what you pack and how you pack it. So you got your main pouch in here. So quite a few assortment of pouches just on the stock bag. And then you flip over to the other side, and I have my inReach tied to the side of the bag here. A lot of people think it's pretty flimsy where it's at. I mean, the strap here is sewn on fairly well. This is one of the MOLLE straps, and this clip, I have a really hard time actually getting this thing off of here. My personal preference has always been to keep it on the outside of my bag, just so it's easily accessible in the event that I either am incapacitated and somebody else will be able to see that I have an inReach right away, or if I am in a situation where I can't move, I can at least try to get the bag off and access my inReach nice and close, or even just turn it on the bag and then send an SOS. So down below we have another MOLLE pouch, which is actually kind of set up as a individual first aid kit. I'm not actually sure what I have all in this right now. Oh, I do have some things in here right now. So got some field scissors, and some gloves, all your basic first aid things, sanitary wipes, a little bit of medical tape here. Just some bandages and splints. I got some dressings for wounds, non-stick dressings, gauze behind here, triangular bandages. So basically, compression bandages as well. So basically, the bare minimum of kind of what you would expect to have to dress things like blisters, cuts, bruises, scrapes, small light sprains, but nothing major. Typically, you'd have somebody else with the medical gear on them, either in a skimmer or on a skidoo or a quad or something like that. So this is kind of serves a purpose as like an individual first aid kit, but in a pinch you could treat somebody that you come across if they have very basic non-life-threatening injuries. So that's the medical side of things. And then of course on the front of the backpack you have your two straps. Starting with the front here, things that I do carry in my bag. Got some garbage here. So basically, easy to get to things here. I got a spork and a couple of spoons in here. Whistle. I do carry a can opener. Also a pair of Nipex. I know these things do add weight, but a spare pair of lithium batteries for the inReach. I have a Gerber kind of a Leatherman style knife, and it's basically has all your Leatherman style tools in it, and it's just a kind of a painted black and different opening style, kind of a tactical military style. And I also have a Nebo light here. So, moving on, I have a knife, standard knife with actually some flint on the side of it. So there's a flint stick in here. I have used this several times, and the whole unit itself actually doubles as a whistle, which is kind of cool. So, and there's a whistle on this side here. Pen, and that's all for that pouch. Again, just kind of give you a quick rundown of what I carry. And this bag's always ready to go. I always try to have it in shape, ready to go in case we do get a search and rescue call or something like that. So I have a handset for the Valfang radio. Again, very cheap. Both these things are very cheap, but they do the job. Emergency blanket. Also carry a standard compass. Fire building utensils I keep in a plastic bag, newspaper, lighter, matches, and waterproof matches. And that's all for that pouch there. So moving back into here. Usually try to carry a couple meals with me. I just have some Mountain House here. That one's a beef stew. This one here is a rice and chicken. Trash bag, that always can come in handy. Part of a meal ready to eat. I think this is scalloped potatoes and ham. And I have some more spare batteries here. Spare batteries for either the flashlights or basically just the flashlights. And I have a flashlight here that actually is dead. And another knife. Moving on to the main pouch here. Usually I have an Nalgene in here too. My Nalgene's actually over in the kitchen there. So I have a small gas cartridge for the jet foil and the jet foil itself. A pair of gloves, toque there, and and I do carry a life straw. I did take it out of the packaging, but I have not used it. Some cottonelle wipes, those come in handy, and a spare pair of socks. That's always good to have as well. And I believe that's about it. There's a pouch in the front here too that rests against your back, and I don't know if it was designed for a water bladder. It seems pretty small for a water bladder, and I don't have anything in here actually. So I don't use this. I've never used this pouch, but I'm sure you could put probably some I don't know, like maybe a small clipboard or a small notepad, something like that in there, newspaper. And on the front pouch here, and the inside, I have a Gerber saw. It doesn't really replace a hatchet, but it saves on space, and it sure saves on the weight as well. And they give you spare blades with the unit as well, so that's super handy. So I've used this blade several times, and they seem flimsy, but they actually do cut if you can find the technique on how to do it. Ground tarp, also used it for shelter before. Also has come in handy several times. Takes up a little bit of space and a little bit of weight, but highly worth it. And this is the inside components to the MRE. You have your matches and your jams and sugars and things like that accompany the meal. So I think I actually only have part of that MRE. Part of it may have been consumed on a trip, if I remember right. Anyways, that's basically the bag in its entirety. As you can see, without everything in it, there's no backbone, there's no support for your back. There's no metal frame, there's no aluminum frame or plastic. It's all just loose material. So I'm going to put everything back in, get everything packaged back up, and then I'll just do a quick kind of a model of how it looks on me. So I'm just going to throw the backpack on, show you what it looks like on somebody of my stature. Again, 6'3", around 230 pounds. So not the most lightest person, that's for sure. But once the backpack's on, it basically sits in an okay spot on my back. I just do not like at all how these shoulder straps dig into my shoulders, especially after a prolonged period of time. Going up the side of a mountain it's not very fun by the end of the day. So I'll attempt to throw the sternum strap on here. I use this once in a while, go on a really long hike. So that's kind of where the sternum strap sits in and is comfortable on me. Actually, I noticed I don't actually usually use the hip belt, and I've noticed that the shackle for the clip for the inside of my hip belt here is actually broken. So I can't even show you that. But I have actually never really used this anyways. It does not, I'm so tall, my torso is so long that it does not sit in a very good spot on my stomach or my belly here, so I do not get a very good fit with it on, so I've never used it. I'll usually, if I'm going on a longer trip, I'll usually size up to my marine surplus backpack that I picked up, which is basically like the big gunny set crate. So this is kind of where it sits. Again, somebody that's shorter will have a better use of the shoulder or the hip belts. 6'3" is fairly tall stature. I've only ever seen a few reviews on the internet with using people that are over 6 feet and that are carrying a bit more weight than the average person is, right? So kind of wanted to give you a real sense of what it's like. I know not everybody's going to be, 5'8" and 140 pounds. So this is what this pack looks like. 6'3" individual, roughly 230 pounds. So, and there you have it, guys. Kind of a rough overview of the Raven X Assault Day Bag. It's a small Assault Day Bag. Retails for about $115 Canadian. And again, for the most part, it's actually a very nice pack. Had it for over a year now, and it's never really let me down. I do notice that, like I said, one of the shackles on the waist belt is broken, but plastic that is to be expected. So if you're looking for a 30-liter day bag, you know, you might be under 6 feet or 5'10", somewhere around there. This might be the bag for you to choose for a day bag. So a salt bag, 30-liter. Would recommend it for day use only, and in my application it works good. Your application might be a little bit different, so please think about these things I explained and showed you before you go ahead and purchase something like this. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and I appreciate the support, and hope that you have all your questions answered. Drop me a comment if there's anything else that you need answered, and drop me a like, maybe a subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.